the Principal Secretary in the State Department for Justice, Human Rights and Constitutional Affairs, Judith Pareno, is in the studio. Good morning.
Morning to you.
Asante sana for joining us.
Thank you.
And karibu sana.
Asante.
We're going to have a conversation around all the things that you do in your offices, the PS4, all those things, justice, constitutional affairs, human rights. But first, Jano is going to give you the day's quote, and she'll tell you some words that were said by somebody sometime. Let's see if they make sense to you today.
Okay.
It's International Anti-Corruption Day.
It's anti-corruption.
Yes, you are fine. So the day's quote is by Amina Mama, Nigerian UK scholar and feminist. And in 2003, she said, "Power is not abstract. It lives in the everyday decisions that shape our lives." I'll say it again. Power is not abstract. It lives in the everyday decisions that shape our lives. I can see she's taking notes. What stands out for you in that quote, or what do you think it means?
To me, it means that power... okay, let me start from what maybe our Constitution has conceptualized on that. Our Constitution says that the power belongs to the people. That we are sovereign, yes, but the power belongs to the people. And it is the people that donate it for it to be exercised. So it should serve them. That power should be that guiding light for the everyday life of our citizens. And that is what it means.
That's well said. I feel like when it's said that way, when it comes to the Constitution, is when it sounds abstract. There's an abstract power belongs to the people.
Right.
It's there and we know it. But then you think about the everyday decisions, then you wonder how much of that power do we actually have? Belongs to us?
That we should exercise for and on behalf of the people. Okay. Because it belongs to them.
It's for the people. Now, PS, on 20th of March, the President nominated you to be the Principal Secretary. You went through vetting in Parliament. You saw your oath of office on the 17th of April this year.
True.
As a PS for Justice, Human Rights and Constitutional Affairs. What's that job? What is your job?
It's a whole wide field, but I believe I'm up to the task. Otherwise, if I didn't believe that, I would have said no, thank you. But I said yes, thank you. It's about it's justice, human rights, constitutional affairs, very wide. But in short, the Executive Order number 1 of 2025 gave me 19 functions. The same order gave me to supervise or at least oversight 9 institutions. So if I can just mention like a few of, because most of them are interrelated of the functions. Matters human rights, implementation of the Constitution as far as realization of our Constitution as far as the rights are concerned. You know, we have a whole chapter on the Bills of Rights. Then matters justice, and matters to do with the implementation of the constitutional affairs. So in those functions, there is a function that I should ensure that there is implementation of our Constitution. The rule of law is there. Issues of justice is there. Public participation, which touches on just what you read, that the public should be involved. You know, our Constitution gave a provision that for you to make any decision, you must have public participation. I've been given a mandate to roll out a public participation exercise. We have started by doing a framework, a law, which is actually right now in Parliament. It's being processed to ensure that we have a framework under which public participation can be done, under which the citizens are involved in this power you're talking about. Before you exercise it, the citizens, we are talking about, not you are talking about, we are talking about, so to ensure that citizens are participating in every decision making in this country. So what have we done? We have gotten a framework because we realize that every time you're exercising this power, people do public participation differently. Every institution, before they make a decision, they do public participation. So we need a guided way, not a straight jacket, yes, but a framework. So that is already there. Then I have obligation to international treaties, which touch on even what we are doing today, treaties on corruption, treaties on human rights, the rights of children, the rights of citizens, discrimination, and all those things. We as a country are signatory to a lot of these conventions. That is also under my mandate to ensure that we observe and adhere to the treaty obligations that we have as a country, and to come back and report back and disseminate the decisions that are made. There is a mandate on reparations to create a framework on that. We're already thinking of a policy, because as a country we don't have a policy on what do we do about reparations. Then we have a mandate on legal frameworks on legal reforms. So we already started engaging on what reforms do we need in as far as election reforms are concerned. It is also there. Task force reports. We have a lot of task force reports, inquiry reports that have been gathering just in the shelves. And that is one of the mandates that has also been given to me, to ensure that at the end of the day, we come out with enforcing or realizing the decisions that were made in those task force reports. So then the overall corruption in those 19 functions, corruption is mentioned. In the functions, corruption is mentioned 4 times as a mandate, to fight corruption, to sensitize the citizen, to make sure that we have ethics and integrity and leadership. So it is there, mentioned 4 times. Then on the institutions, again, corruption is mentioned 4 times. The multi-agency team against corruption is the one that was stopped by somebody who went to court. We actually were starting to bring people together to actually have a multi-agency team that we are the secretary to this multi-agency team as a State Department. The Asset Recovery Agency that recovers proceeds of crime is under my department. The National Anti-Corruption Campaign Steering Committee that does civic education on change of attitude on how to fight corruption is under my department.
Wait, that thing still exists?
It is still there. It is actually what I'm trying to revive today. That's why...
because I haven't heard of it in
which
many
one is
years.
this again?
The National Anti-Corruption Campaign Steering Committee.
Yes.
Campaign Steering Committee.
I also have not heard that
In a while.
Yes.
You know, there's somebody called Staki Mapepe on YouTube who is saying anti-graft bodies in Kenya are so toothless. He goes on to say that he feels they are just hot air. Thank you for giving us the background of what you deal with. It's really just to try and find out what new fight you're bringing to this already massive fight. Campaigns, etc., I feel like there's already heightened awareness. We know corruption exists. Citizens know it exists. People in power know it exists, and according to the headlines today, they're even part of the corruption game, if I can call it that. So when Staki Mapepe says it's toothless, I'm sure that's something that you sit with often when people say it's just toothless. How can you then begin to prove that what the fight you're bringing isn't toothless? It's something that can work to fight corruption.
Our approach to this today, like what we are doing today, from today up to Friday, we have created the County Anti-Corruption Civilian Oversight Committees. We are calling them CACOCs. County Anti-Corruption Civilian Oversight Committees, CACOCs in short. Who is made up? How do we create the committees? We have written to the church, the Interreligious Council, to give us, nominate for us from each county members of the church fraternity, which most of us are. I don't believe the church will give me people who I would want to believe that the church is serious in fighting corruption. Let's bring them on board. They are also Kenyans. I have written to Maendeleo ya Wanawake. They have picked a lady, the chairpersons of each of the counties, to be part of this committee. We have written to the National Youth Council. They have given us a youth to be part of this committee. We have written to the council of PWDs to give us a member in each of these county committees. We have even invited the Media Council to be part of us, you, the media, to be part of us as we jointly do this. So what have we done? Bringing diversity, bringing the people, not from sitting on this desk in the city, but the same people who are feeling the pinch of corruption. The same civilians to be the ones to oversight themselves and do social audit of the projects.
Only problem.
And do civic education and change attitude So what am I doing? Instead of me just talking here and telling people, doing civic education, which I'm doing right now, we are also asking the people to participate, to be participatory. It is people-centered.
But it's not.
So I'm thinking...
It's not. Wait.
I am thinking...
The
Yes, I am
chairperson,
thinking
Maendeleo Wanawake, all right, that is...
Of which county?
It's a club. Let's just call it what it is. How many... If I went to Kimana today, I would not find people in Maendeleo Wanawake. The person who's a Maendeleo Wanawake chairperson in Kimana will be somebody who has been in some level of politics and some elitist kind of circles for many years. If you look at the National Youth Council, it's also, the National Youth Council has those elections, but there's a certain layer of it that is government. The National Council for Persons with Disability, again, government. The Media Council of Kenya, again, some government. I'm not feeling like, if I went to Kajiado County, the people of Kajiado County would feel represented when they hear Maendeleo, National Youth Council, National Council for Persons, National Council, Media Council of Kenya.
The churches, whereas the
churches
for as well people of other religions, it's churches that are represented.
Is it church or clergy? Did you mean church or religious organization?
To interreligious council
Okay.
to give us representatives from each county, and in fact they are the largest group. They are giving us around 7 members in every group.
That I feel would have a sense of
people-centered.
People.
Sorry, I heard churches. I thought
No,
only
fair
churches.
enough. Yeah, but to Eric's point, is it really people?
To me, I feel a bit uncomfortable saying that every woman in the 47 counties is a woman who cannot perform when trained, when empowered to come out and speak. I believe in women leadership. That's why I am here. I believe that women can make change in this country. So I would not write off 47 women from Maendeleo can be said not to be able to talk about corruption. No. To me, I think that is that is like clumping them together. We normally have people who could be in any society. You have the good and the bad. I don't believe that picking 47 women from Maendeleo Wanawake, all of them would not be able to come out and see that we have a problem in this country and fight corruption.
I completely
so that is one.
Yes.
Because you are trying to say Maendeleo is picked, it's what?
I agree with you.
Let me go to
in
the
terms
National
of women
Youth Council.
leadership.
Yes.
The thing is Maendeleo truly today representative?
Yeah.
To me, Maendeleo do their own bit. I've never been in Maendeleo. I know they do elections. I know they have a structure. I wanted to use that structure. We're talking about behavior change, character change. Even that Maendeleo that you think might not be, can be. Not in this country where we are all having a problem and we are saying this thing called corruption must be fought. We are today training 40, today, this morning, I'm just going to launch the opening ceremony of training 500 Kenyans forming part of these committees from all over the country. They are right now at the Cooperative College to be trained on how to sense corruption, to be trained on behavior change, to be trained on how, for once, we can embrace integrity. I don't think out of the 500, I would lose on how they can come out feeling changed, feeling trained, feeling empowered. So on Maendeleo, that's my vote. On National Youth Council, the young people have been talking in this country. They're saying you're not involving us. They're saying corruption is eating into our future. I am inviting the young people, be the change. Join us in these committees. Get empowered. Give your contributions. Let's move together. Again, another 47 young people from the National Youth Council. Are we going to say that they are all toothless? They are all people who cannot change? They are all people that we cannot empower to fight corruption? I believe it's time they can do that. So I have invited them. They are part of this team that is going to be trained today. That is actually going to be started off today for a whole week. Then we have PWDs. We don't want to leave anybody behind. I believe that council that is up there can make a difference. 47 of them, yes, we might have 1 or 2, we might not change. But out of 47, no, I believe we can change. Media Council, are you telling me that they're also not up to the task?
So I think this is
they are part of this fight.
My interpretation. It's that of maybe what Eric is saying. Correct me if I'm wrong, Eric. It's not that these people are incapable. It's, are they representative of the groups that they are meant to represent within this CAPOX, right? The county county anti-corruption civilian committees, right? Are they representative of those groups? Because when I think of Maendeleo na Wanawake, you are right, it will often be comprised of women who have been in the political space and mobilization and grassroots work. Those are women who are representative of their societies, but are they fully representative? National Youth Council as well, I'll tell you as a young person, it's a launch pad to politics. You go into it usually with a look into politics. I can't speak for the National Council of Persons with Disabilities. I really, I don't know enough. Let me keep quiet on that one. So I think that then, because the next question I wanted to come into was what is meaningful, like things like public participation, right? So as you're forming a CACOPS, right? As you're forming that, how do you make it actually inclusive and representative of these people, as opposed to the token people who are already assumed to represent their populations?
For when you start something, you'll always have even teething problems and what. But this is a starting point. We are starting somewhere from the bodies that exist. We can expand it. You can even make proposals to me today that Pareno, this is not, it is a fairly representative, that's what you feel, but can we make it as representative as possible? I am starting somewhere. Contribute to making it better. Let us not look like we will now bash this one and start saying it's not representative. Let us say, yes, Pareno, you need to change a little bit. I'm willing to do
so that's what
that's what we're doing.
That's what we're doing.
That's what I'm doing.
Corruption.
I'm welcoming you to do that.
I believe, data-wise, I think whether it's Afrobarometer or other platforms, corruption is highest in government institutions. One might easily argue. So I'm just wondering how CACOX comes into play. I almost feel like you're launching these groups of people. It's like the David and Goliath kind of scenario. You're launching these groups to empower them to be able to sense when corruption is, to be able to report to the very agencies where corruption thrives. So how do you balance people-centered, but also holding government accountable, because that's where corruption is rife?
Yes. Now, we are not just launching these people. Yes, we are launching these people and sending them back empowered to do certain activities. We have a way they'll do their work plans. They do something called social audits. Social audits is to visit identify certain projects within the counties and see, like, can we check this project? Or maybe they might even receive some info that some project is not going on well. Theirs is just to do a social audit. They are not investigators. They are not prosecutors. So we are just finding a way of engaging the people. They can do a baraza. They can do civic education. They receive that information. And where do they report to? They don't report to the county governments where they are seeing the project. They report back to our office. It is from the work plans and it is from their reports that now we shall segregate what has been received from them. Does it fall within ESCC? By the way, ESCC is one stakeholder in this. Remember, ESCC is the one that does the investigations, the one that goes ahead to prosecute. As we are just doing a civic education exercise, as we are just sensitizing people, we are calling on those whistleblowers to come out and give us information, and we know how to channel that information to the necessary government apparatus. So when they do their work plan, they go and do their social audit. They relate with the churches. They relate with we have Maendeleo and Wanawake there. Then they bring back that feedback. It is from us that now the feedback is sieved out and we see what belongs where. What belongs to a follow-up, what belongs to ESCC, then we direct it to ESCC, we give their reports, and they're able to just proceed. So ours is a civic education, a campaign to ensure that the citizens are informed. They're even informed on how our projects come to be, what is the circle of a project, how do you monitor it, how do you even see what is happening about the finances, and then theirs is just to do that social audit and report back.
Okay.
Two, the same CACOX relate so well with the church that we are asking the church to come out, and before they have done that, to come out and speak about corruption to their congregations. So we have a partnership with the church to ensure that they speak on behalf of all of us about corruption. Give those scriptures that talk about corruption. Let us change this attitude through our engagements with every other person. So that's how we relate.
Just before we move on from now the CACOCs, what protections now exist for the members of these committees in their counties so that they're not facing backlash or targeting or, you know, as a result of their work?
Every time they go back to the counties, because at the moment we are trying to roll out what we are calling the Attorney General's Legal Aid Clinic, which is another one I would want to talk about, because the National Legal Aid Service is under my department.
You have quite a lot.
Yes, one of the institutions under my department. So we have rolled out the National Legal Aid Service, the Attorney General's Legal Aid Clinic. These CACOCs have been sitting, they have been given space by the county, not the county government, but the DC's place, where, you know, the former DC's place, county commissioner's place. They are given room there to sit and deliberate before, then they move to the field, then they come back, sit and do that. So now we are trying to find a way of having some offices maybe under the legal aid part for them to be a little bit independent, be able to sit down, do the social audits, and they are able to report to us. So the National Legal Aid Service is another one that I want to talk about, because it's about more of justice and access to justice.
Just before you get into
corruption,
the protections for them, because they could be targeted because of their work.
They sit within the county commissioner's place. You know, that is, let's say they are the security apparatus down there. And that is where they do their job. But we also are finding a way of making, I'm told some of them before were even attacked, and they should do the social audits. So we are expanding that to make sure that they are protected, and we are liaising with every administration. That's why when they go for an activity, it's the administration that gives them the protection. The chiefs, the DCs, they are the ones who help their setup as they do their job.
We need to go into a quick break.
But of course, we'll expand to make sure that they are protected as they go around to do their social work.
Right. Judith Pareno is PS State Department for Justice, Human Rights and Constitutional Affairs. Today is International Day Against Corruption. I just read it and I'm about to refer to it again. But it's coming up to 7:30. Send us your feedback. We'll come back and continue the conversation with her.
Yes.
I'm going to end up giving them their mandate, Mariam. Stevo 1850 says, people already know what corruption looks like. That's why we participate in it. When you add the government scandals that we are exposed to on a daily basis, Kenyans can be termed as experts on that. He goes on to say, what we are yet to see is severe punishment to deter the behavior. Hapo ndio awareness inafaa kuwa focused on. Before we invite PS to respond, Abur Willington, I think every politician should be a 24-hour streamer, and their badge should be transparent. And then a politician goes, and that's a really high standard for the job. That's confusing. I should have read that earlier. I don't quite understand, but she got me at should be a streamer. So yes,
some comments here as well. Nicholas Tenges says, congratulations to our able PS, Honorable Pareno. You are equal to the task. Ukoroma fans. Pia Eduku ya Olmelelian, anasema following live, the Honorable Judith Pareno, Kajedo County, we love you very much. Ashaanza kukampeinia huko on the ground. Edward Akach says, a lot of these representatives that the PS is talking about don't reflect the people at the grassroots level. Have a good morning. Why not have those engagements at the grassroots level, just like the Jukwala or Salama Forum, but get further down to the sub-county levels?
One last one. Joe Mungai was saying on YouTube, corruption is nothing but bad manners. A policeman collects a bribe from Mama Pima or from a motorist, but is cleansed during Sunday service akitoa sadaka.
Hey.
It's a society problem. Because I think, and maybe just before you even come into your other question that you had asked, Mariam, there's corruption in this country is endemic in our society. But sometimes I see like we just want to pick on the other person who's,
being corrupt.
And that's why the easier target is the person in the government office. This one is corrupt. They should be taken to court. They're not being punished. They're not.
Me as the motorist giving the bribe are not the problem. It's the police officer taking the bribe.
Yeah.
It's the sudden,
This headline in the Daily Nation today about how kids are going to select their schools. Watch how much corruption there's going to be in January as people are trying to influence the school that their children are going to go to in grade 10.
Yeah, it's the most socialized language understood. It's corrupt. Just what you've said. January, people are already planning. Najua nitamlipa nani.
Mtoto wangu hawezi enda kwa hii shule. Mtoto wangu anaingia hii shule. And already people are already lining themselves up on where their children are going to. So I was thinking that CACOX was actually going to be the one that comes to engage, let people have conversations on our level of corruption in our village, right? And how we fight corruption in our village, and how we promote whistleblowing in our village, and how we deal with it at that village level. Because the other job is ESCC's job. Yeah,
that's why we are coming out strongly. It's about our attitude. Look at what you said, that somebody's already thinking, how do I get, this is the only way I can get a good school. It is our attitude as Kenyans. It is our character as Kenyans. We have to change this. And that is why we are going down to engage with them. This is not how to do it. Let's have a better country. Let us believe in our institutions. Let us believe in ourselves. Who is in these institutions? Isn't it Kenyans? It is. Who is giving the bribe? Isn't it a Kenyan? Who is receiving the bribe? It is a Kenyan. So we need to change our attitude. And that is why these CACOFs have to be on the ground to talk to the people to make change. Look at somebody saying, we know how it looks like. That's a Kenyan. Look at that thinking. We know how corruption looks like. Yes, but do you know how to fight corruption? Do you know how we can stop this corruption? That's why we have to engage. We know how it looks like. Let us now know how to fight it. So that we don't just say, oh, I know how it looks like, and then what?
And then what?
Then there are no action. Action is because we know it, come out and fight it. So that's why we're out there. Then look at, we have done, somebody has said that it's not a good representation, the team we have picked. Give me your thinking about who should be the representative. Because we are Kenyans, we are calling on you to tell us what to do. We are receptive of good ideas. It is all of us to engage. So that's why we are coming out to engage, so that sharpen it. Let's make it work. Okay. Don't tell me don't start. Me, I've started. Get along with me, work with me, and make a change with it. Then let me talk about the laws. What have we done? Because it looks like we're saying we're not fighting corruption. We've just done a whistleblowers bill. It is in Parliament already. We have just done the conflict of interest bill. The president assented to it just the other day. In fact, we're already feeling the effect of it. As of yesterday, we were told we need to fill in our declaration of wealth by 15th of December. Each one of us is already filling it. What has happened? We are declaring our wealth, inclusive of our children, our husbands, because we have now expanded space, because people run away from being accountable as a leader by just stating that you're declaring your wealth and then you hide your wealth behind your child. You've seen a lot of them being charged with their children, with their wives. What has the law done? It has brought all those people together to declare wealth, so that you don't have to, there is no way you can now go and hide illicit things under your children. Family, so we've expanded that. So and then the bill is already there. It's already being actioned. In fact, we're already filling in those forms as public servants to be accountable.
There was a very interesting exemption in the conflict of interest bill. Oh no, am I in the wrong bill? That exempts cabinet secretaries
from campaigns.
Public servants, cannot participate in campaigns, with the exception of cabinet
secretaries and CECMs.
That was incredibly suspicious, because they are public servants. And we spoke to Geoffrey Ruko, who more or less just admitted that he does use, government resources while campaigning, because he said, I go in my government vehicle. That is a public resource. So that was a very odd exemption.
I have 24-hour security. When do you want me to drop the security?
It's too intertwined.
But I think we will tighten up the loose ends by describing who a public servant is. Because a lot of loopholes here and there. I am by the description, I am a public servant right now by being PS.
Yeah.
But by that description, some people do not look like they fall under that proper. So we need to just tighten the laws.
Specifically exempts cabinet secretaries and CECMs. Specifically exempts. It's almost like the law was written for Ruko and Co. It's higher, but what are you?
We will tighten those loose ends by describing the public servant properly and making everybody
removing
accountable.
exemptions.
Yes, and removing exemptions.
I hope we can hold you to that. There's a question on public participation, which we wanted to get into. You said there's a framework for public participation. Tell us about that. I think we've seen a lot of things being thrown out by the courts because they lacked effective public participation, and public participation being done in a very tokenistic way. Shikeni, watu kumi kwa hall inaitwa public participation.
So that's why now we are developing a framework that is uniform for all, that looks like uniform for all, because we realize that everybody's doing public participation their ways. Three of us, we just say we've done public participation. So now we are creating a law that will govern what is public participation, how does it qualify to be public participation, how do you engage. In fact, some people would want to engage, but they don't know how to engage. Who do you reach for when you want your views to be taken into a particular a particular aspect? So we are developing that so that then the threshold as well. Like when I was doing this public participation bill, we actually were targeting half of the counties, 24 of them. So that then it is a representation of the people. And then it's not just the half, but from maybe a certain region. We must include the ASAL areas, we must include all aspects of our country. So that is why we are coming up with it, so that then we don't have people falling short of the expectation of the law. So Kenyans are contributing, they are saying how they want it. Even you please tell us how you want it. It is now under parliament, more public participation will be done, and I'm sure that finally we'll have something that is acceptable to all of us, and acceptable. The courts have been throwing out because the threshold had not been set. The standards are not being set. The time, so now because we'll have it, then the court will look at that law and make sure we adhere to it.
I remember when the AG first published the draft bill and said like input from the public, I saw very many, especially young people, who are looking at that bill and sharing their feedback and even forwarding the feedback to the office of the AG. Now it's before Parliament, it's just gone quiet. You know how Parliament does its thing. Is there anything that you are doing as your State Department to create more awareness with people so they can engage with it? Because in the end, if Parliament passes a law that doesn't meet the constitutional threshold and what the courts have already, tried to shape what public participation threshold should look like, it'll come back to you. It's a waste of time.
Yeah, but I know, I've been a parliamentarian, I've been a senator, I've been nominated senator, I've been in the East African Parliament. So I appreciate what they do, and I know that once it falls under the jailer committees, like now I believe it is in the jailer committee of National Assembly, they'll call for public views. The only problem that I have is that sometimes as Parliament you call for public views and the people do not even give those views. So who do you blame? Parliament, actually they put in the daily, a daily newspaper, that please come and give views. So people just talk, they don't come to give views. Look at what happened there.
The average age of Kenyans is 19. They don't read the newspaper.
Yeah, but
how do you reach people genuinely?
But
average age of 19, they don't read the newspaper, let's be honest.
Yeah, I'm just saying that they actually come out to ask people to come.
There's already a flaw in the thinking of Parliament, and that's the basis of my question. The thinking of Parliament is how they reach the people, and we've seen it in practice. You've been in Parliament, you've seen when you wanted to engage in public participation, how the office of the clerk just facilitates public participation. The bill is seeking to expand how the public is engaged through multiple platforms. Now, how can you assist the public to actually know that this is before Parliament? You're not doing Parliament's job. You are sensitizing the public as the State Department that is responsible for this. Sensitize the public that it's before Parliament. Then let people now start looking for it. They will take it from the papers. They will take it from the kenyalaw.org. They will share it in their platforms, and this will make Parliament start thinking how else can we receive views.
We have
they did it with the finance bill.
Yeah, we've done this in several ways. Like even today, as I speak here, I'm looking for space to speak to them, to tell them come out because the bill is before Parliament. We have engaged as a department to an extent that we continue receiving views. And I called the clerk of the jailer, and I told him, now that we continue to receive views because we are still telling the people that there's a public participation, can I forward? And they said, yes, you forward. When the time for public participation is there, will you forward? And we kept forwarding what we are receiving. So our department has been so active in both on social media. We created a portal. We received a lot of views. We went around the country. In fact, in every aspect of receiving views from the people, I was always there to launch them and to speak to the people, and I would always address the press to tell them, please tell the people that we are doing public participation. So I think we'll just continue engaging, telling them, yes, the bill is still there, please come out, just like I'm doing today, please come out and do public participation of the public participation bill. Yeah.
Did you still have another question, public participation? Because I wanted to, I'm looking 12 months, 2 years, 5 years from now. What exactly does success look like? Okay, you're doing CACOX. Yeah, I can see why you were struggling with it.
County Anti-Corruption Civilian Committees.
Yeah.
Oversight.
Okay.
Yes.
Oversight, yes.
That's the
Okay, that makes
Anti-corruption
no wonder you went and-
civilian oversight committees.
Because what does it look like to equip communities with information to fight corruption? I'm just wondering what goal setting you have in mind 12 months from now that you can look back and say, and yeah, we're closer to pushing back against corruption. Do you have an idea?
Yes, that's why we are coming out with some of these outfits like the CACOX. That's why at the end of the day, I believe that if we go around every county, because we are now having a committee as from today, from every county, we can expand it. I will be asking you to give me your ideas on expansion so that it looks more representative. I'll be asking anybody out there to give us the ideas of how it can be more representative. You empower these people to speak to the people right at the village. You know, we don't live in Kwahewa. Situko kwa village too. We are right in the village. You're able to talk to the people. I believe that there is a way that we can change attitude. The problem in this country is changing of attitude towards our own, soul searching, our country. The other day I was telling even civil society who I've engaged with a lot of them. I was telling them there is no Kenya for civil society and Kenya for Pareno and government. It is one Kenya. I am receptive. I want to receive your complaints so that I address them. That's why I'm there. Then you can even help me address. Like today, some of the people who helped me to gather 500 people today for training, it's the same civil society that have seen sense in what I'm talking about. And they have come to hold my hand. They have come to tell us, let us fight this corruption together. We're helping you out. So how do I see it? I see that somehow we will have to do thorough civic education, thorough attitude change, love yourself, patriotism, and coming back to think of our country and thinking and imagining that without this Kenya, then there cannot be even anybody else. So we have to think about ourselves first. So down the line,
change takes
down
the
line, I believe there'll be something positive.
Okay. Part of your work, of course, is, oversight on human rights, constitutional implementation. We have obligations to international treaties that we have to uphold. This government human rights record is beyond appalling. I don't even know if subpar, I don't know the word to use, honestly. How does government work against government to
address human rights
violations?
Yep.
I came into the office at a time when these Gen Zs had spoken, and I actually did address through media. I kept trying to address that. Yes, we didn't do so well in terms of addressing the situation in terms of some of the human rights violations, like that shooting of that young man who was just holding a mask,
60 people were killed on that day.
Some of those things. And I kept, and I said, my mandate would be, I have to do a know your rights program, but know your obligations program. They go together. You can't be a citizen demanding for your rights, but the law says, and for us lawyers, I'm a lawyer by profession, it says you can't come to equity with dirty hands. You have to come with clean hands. You're coming to us for a right, but you cannot violate other people's rights in the process.
Except the shooting you're talking of was of an unarmed man.
Yes, that's what I'm saying.
A mask.
It is very wrong for you to do a wrong and then expect to also get justice. So it's wrong for the officer, but it is wrong for anybody else to come break. We saw people breaking into shops, but they have a right to be guided to demand their rights within the law.
Can I just say something?
Yes. So
I just want us to go back to why these protests started, because I think we lose sight of the fact that these were people who were organized and meant well. I feel like that narrative has been disrupted a bit too much. We're not disvaluing or invalidating that there were hired goons this year, and we've seen goons. A lot of the time it's a political weapon. There's a whole conversation. But I think even when you're talking with young people and them knowing their obligations, I feel like a lot of young people do. They tried to exercise that last year. They tried to say, the Kenya that we want is a Kenya where we're not taxed to death, where women and men are safe, where we're able to look at an economic future. I feel like government institutions need to remember that clarion call without disrupting some of what infiltration came this year. I'm saying that because I keep seeing a default to, but also they need to, they know. The initial protest was powerful because it was from truth. So it's something that I think a lot of government institutions need to remember. It's sometimes convenient and easy to be like, now see, now look, goons became, nope. The spirit was always for justice and access. That's something that, and then there's a trust factor. So even now when you're talking about, we're asking people to come. How do you ask people to come and trust you when you broke their trust?
Now,
that was more of a statement than a question, but I think it's important
thank you so much for that. We cannot lose. We cannot lose or lose sight of the intention that was meant by these young people. An intention to speak out, to have a right to express themselves, to demand justice, to demand that we fight corruption, to demand that we have a better country. Right now, as government, what have we done? We have responded by saying, yes, they must be given space to speak. They must be given. We are tightening on our laws to make sure that there is space for everybody to speak. There is space for expression. There is also, you remember these young men are saying we are jobless. There is corruption. What have we done? You've seen the steps we are taking to fight corruption because we are listening to that cause of our children that fight corruption. We have come out to fight corruption. How many laws have we passed so far? Whistleblowers bill, conflict of interest bill, amendments to the Anti-Corruption Act, amends 8 laws that is also before Parliament. One of the laws, one of the amendments we are making is that can we have courts doing corruption cases within 6 months and concluding within 6 months? We want to reduce the period. You're in for corruption, we put you in for 6 months, within 6 months. You're clean, the courts get you out. We are tightening those. We've listened to these children. We've listened to the country. We've come out strongly. Now, let me come to what we are doing on
the human rights
Yes,
mandate.
let me just come talk about the jobs we are creating for young people.
Just before
because
that.
Because they talked so much about it, and it is their right.
On the human rights mandate, your answer doesn't inspire much confidence because we speak about human rights and the first instinct is to deflect either to it's know your rights but also know your boundaries, and we've established people very well knew their rights and their boundaries. It was largely unarmed young people coming out onto the streets. It's sounding just very defensive, and then going on into jobs, etc. I know you're in a hard position because government can't fight government, but you are in a position to advise. You are in a position to put in place policy and to push it towards Parliament. So yeah, I think there's really more that could be done by the State Department on justice, human rights, and constitutional affairs. Those 3 things are very much your purview. So this is again, it's a statement. I think there's a lot left unanswered on that.
On human rights, on that mandate, I've just told you what we are doing about the laws. The mandate I have is about the laws. The mandate I have is about civic education. I have to come out on know your rights. I also have an obligation to also know your obligation. We cannot have a country where you will say my rights are superior than the rights of others. I'm simply saying everybody has a right. The young people have a right, the shopkeepers have a right, everybody has a right. But you do not violate the rights of others, like killing them. There's a law. Like for a police officer, they are trained on how to use force and when not to use force. What are we doing? Is to go out for civic education to ensure that everybody keeps to the lane. If we have a country that everybody will just overrun everybody, then we'll have no country. So what we are saying is, do not overrun. Observe your right. Everybody, the police, observe your right. The young people observe the right. Pareno, observe your right. We will have a sober country.
You know, we established under the Constitution the Kenya National Commission on Human Rights. And I believe your State Department has a link with this particular commission in terms of just supporting them in the work that they're doing for promoting human rights and ensuring that the Bill of Rights is adhered to by the citizen and the state.
We work closely together.
Right? How about championing for the full empowerment of that commission? Let them get their budgetary allocations on time. Let their work not be hindered by, what happens to disempower some of these commissions, delay their money, so they only have money to run, to pay salaries and to run around, but they don't have money to actually do the work that they're supposed to do. As your State Department, I think one of the things that you ought to be doing is that. Make sure that you are the spokesperson for the Kenya National Commission on Human Rights in the executive. You are the spokesperson and the champion for the Policing Oversight Authority.
Now, I cannot be their spokesperson because they are independent commissions created by the Constitution. They have their powers, but we complement each other. I hold their hand, they hold my hand, we move together. But I cannot, if I went to speak for them, I'll be overstepping my powers and also going into their independence. But because they have a mandate, and I also have a mandate that we just can't do without each other. We are intertwined in terms of holding each other. So we are in that space, we are talking, we are moving. Even ESCC on corruption, we are in that space, we are moving together. So I think as a team, a coordinated team, we can make a difference.
Thank you. Judith Pareno, PS State Department for Justice, Human Rights, Constitutional Affairs, has been our guest this hour as we mark International Anti-Corruption Day ahead of International Human Rights Day tomorrow. In the next hour, Kenya's impact on regional stability. We'll speak to Abdullahi Alas, who's a governance and policy analyst. It's coming up to 8 a.m.